I'm going to now pass on to Neel, and from there, we're going to end this talk with, as I said, practical, what needs to be done now aspects. We looked at larger things. We all agree now, at least on this panel, we need the galaxy. And we all know why we need the galaxy also. But what does that need to be done? We also a little bit touched upon the challenges. Um, in particular, I want you to now, each one of you, I would like to hear from you about the land that needs to be yet purchased. What are your thoughts on that? The DDPs that needs to be made. You are an integral part of ATDC right now. What is your thought on that? And third aspect is, how do we ensure the green belt is secured? Yeah. Short question, long answer.
Once I had gone to this natural saloon and I saw a calendar, and there was some American quote which was there, which said, there's no dearth of money, there's only a dearth of ideas. And somewhere I believe that. And in our own little career, we have seen that when we push with ideas and we make it understandable by more people than just having, I have a beautiful idea. But when I present it, when I rationalize it, when I break it into parts and make it, tasteful also sometimes, then there are people who come with the monies. Right? So somewhere the galaxy already created an excitement. Mother and Sri Aurobindo had already made a dent with the ashram and the books and everything. So there's a lineage. There's a whole history of how Auroville also started to attract. But we did not sustain it somewhere. So we need to now do that next legwork, right, to start to re-engage by saying that this idea has so many layers and has so much potential. And people would come, and the monies would come, and the machines would come, and everything would come. It's just about not keep selling the same thing that I have a galaxy model. that bird's eye view, it has done its magic. We need to go beyond that. We need to now start to say, this is how it can be. And I do have to, go a little bit back into the thing about why a city.
Please.
The density is what is required for us to affect each other.
Very nice.
And one of the problems perhaps which I can put a finger to is that 2,000 or 3,000 of us who still live village-like have not actually affected each other enough. That's part of the problem. So living as a city is the first recourse. It has to be done. It has to be done that we start living as in a certain density where we meet impromptu, where discussions happen impromptu, where meetings don't have to be meetings with agendas and starts and ends. These are some things that we have gone missing, despite all the flavor that is there, despite all the charm that is there. A Pondicherry still produces more intellectual capital, perhaps still produces more music, right? So there is the urban form that we are now equating to tension and problems is also a fad, because it's those urban engines which are giving us all the music we hear, all the movies we watch, all the theater that we go to, all the literature. It's not being produced in villages. So we really need to not look at that aspect. Otherwise, the last part I have to say is that for all other aspects of life, we say Mother and Sri Aurobindo have given us miles and miles of pathway which is beaten by them. Only in the building of the city they failed? No. Can't be. And to end it, I would say, Sri Aurobindo has very clearly said, faith is blind. If it's not blind, it isn't faith. And on the matter and the spirit, it's a very beautiful quote, and with matter shall reveal the face of the spirit, is what Sri Aurobindo said.
No, I'm not going to
Yes.
let you lose
Yes,
that
please.
easily.
Yes.
I have complete faith in you.
Yes.
But then when are the DDPs coming?
Okay. So, I think we have asked ourselves this question: what is a DDP?
Good
Right.
time to ask. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm telling you this question last week. I have asked and I have started to research and what is a DDP. But one thing is very clear to me, that this is not a DDP as we know in town planning principles. There is a layer of art which we don't talk about. This city is governed by art. It's not governed by numbers. It's not governed by dimensions and diameters. It's governed, the principle with which we need to build is the layer of art that we have been given. And it's a lot more than just the model and what we see as a galaxy.
Right.
There are layers and layers of work which are getting revealed, which are slowly coming out from I don't know where, but they are there and they need to be looked into. Like when we started working on Residential Zone 1, we said, okay, there has to be this density and this density and this density. We seek a kind of a medieval city kind of a setup with courtyards, and then they just scatter. I said, okay, these are all buildable. I checked on the courtyard sizes and all, and when I drew sections, they're all workable. So if, what I say is, people say, no, that, don't get stuck by that model. Maybe a model maker made it. I said, let me just try, has been my approach. Let me just try. And when I try, I say I can fit beautiful houses, and I can make a beautiful collective around one courtyard and another, and they can all be livable entities, which we have lived through in history and can do maybe one better.
Neel,
Yes.
when you say that, I mean, I moved to Auroville because one of the reasons was that our founders, one is a poet, one is an artist.
Yes.
That was enough for me too. I agree with you. It's also a piece of art, like you said. But then when you say we are again going to look into the DDP, we are starting to kind of even reinvent what is a DDP. There is a little bit of suspicion that arises, oops, is it going to take some more years then? Because this can be then used by everyone else. So, we are also now thinking what is a DDP.
I don't think any of us here are sure that, when the Superman would descend. So I don't think it's all their problem. I'm not worried. I'm not even worried about failing, because if we fail, she fails. If we succeed, she succeeds. What is there for us? We are first a devotee. And when we have signed up to be a devotee, all those things are in their hands. We just have to do the work.